Hello Troop, it's Unders, and in today's video we're going to look at the differences or the similarities between CLA Mixhub and the SSL EV2. Let's go. Alright, so just to explain my setup very quickly, we've got my drums bus is then being sent to two other channels. One is processed with Mixhub here, the other one is processed with the EV2. On the Mixhub channel, I've got the gain control with a phase inversion of the left and right. What this allows us to do is hear the differences between the two EQs together. So my drums, and if I solo out Mixhub, that's just the Mixhub and what that's doing. And then if I switch on EV2 as well, now we're hearing the difference between the two as they cancel each other out. And what's going on here right now is these two are matched together. And this is actually the difference between the two when they're matched. Now with some maybe very fine tweaking, I could get them to completely cancel, but what we're doing is matching settings here. As you can hear, they're very, very close. Some of the high end disappears completely, some of the low end disappears completely, and obviously the level is drastically reduced. Now there's some differences to be sure. At the moment we're both using the line in, and the line in option and the mic option are available on both of these. If we just take the line out, and we set the mic to sort of a mid value of 25. We can tell that the profile or the mic input, the THD being applied between these two, this does vary considerably. Especially in those upper mids. They're so different that, you know, we can hear what's going on entirely. Also, when we adjust the analog switch, there's a reduction in volume, but they're almost entirely different now because we can hear the signal. If we adjust the mic, we start to get phase shifting. Yeah, because of the gain difference there, it's going to start popping out. That just tells us that it's using a different algorithm or a different type of harmonic distortion between the two mic inputs. We get a slightly different flavor there. Let's just reset these. The analog switch appears to do essentially the same thing. Doesn't appear to be necessarily a different sound at all. When it comes to the EQ, they essentially cancel each other out. If we make the slightest change, we instantly hear it. We'll bring that back to 3 here. So the EQ profile overall is going to be pretty much identical. The thing that's affecting it is the signal processing into it with a different distortion or characteristic from the EQ. However, there are some things that split the two apart. The EQ type up here, where we can switch from brown to black, it should just change the low frequency control. However, it changes the entire EQ and we can hear a distinct difference when we switch to the brown. Not necessarily better or worse, just different. Another thing to note on the Mixhub, we don't have a different EQ to switch out from, but we do have the ability to run into the Bluey compressor instead. When we switch the type, this changes the signal chain considerably as well. Now here, a complete shift in the high end. Notice that the Bluey is not engaged at all, but it has changed the character of the sound dramatically, regardless of the fact it's not actually compressing. If we have a look at the meter out, we have mono and stereo reverse options. If we bring them to mono or reverse, the algorithm is exactly the same. Extra wide tells a similar story. However, CLA Mixhub offers us some extra options in that we can work directly in mono, even without the stereo control. We also have a size mix option and a mid option, not available to us on the EV2. Some of the routing available to us on the EV2 doesn't necessarily appear in the Mixhub. Things like our dynamic switch, however, it doesn't make any direct change to the signal path. The EQ profile does when we're putting the dynamic sidechain in. This is simply because it's now ignoring the dynamic chain that's naturally running through. However, Mixhub allows us to do something considerably different in that we can lift the modules out and completely change their order. As you can hear, this doesn't actually change the sound overall. Mixhub takes it one step further in that we can add a plugin inside of Mixhub itself, meaning we can pick essentially any other Waves plugin and pop it in here. For example, we could put the NLS in and be running sort of a EV or SSL sound directly in the Mixhub anyway. As we can hear, this drastically changes the sound. But it also gives us a lot more flexibility that the EV2 channel simply doesn't have. We're going to disable that for the meantime. Something else we have available are the bucket views, where we can access multiple versions of Mixhub regardless of channel, all from one option. Again, something not available in EV2. Essentially, my conclusion here is that Mixhub and EV2 are both great sounding SSL options. Neither one is better or worse than the other in the analog SSL sound that it creates. However, Mixhub clearly wins out in the fact that it has so much more flexibility and versatility and feature set that if you're looking to add an SSL option to your arsenal and you don't already have something like this, I would suggest picking up the Mixhub option rather than the EV2. However, if you want a very traditional channel strip that's very clean but does allow the option of the nice gritty brown bottom EQ, you can have a look at the EV2. It's just a lot less flexible. I hope that's been helpful for you and given you some insight into just how similar these two are, but also displayed some of the very simple differences. Thanks for watching. I hope it's been helpful, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.